If you look at your video like a bit, that thumbnail is like your opening line.
100%. Your thumbnail title, it's like, oh, it should make it so it grabs them right away.
Like, I think we need to kill left-handed people. And you're like,
right.
What?
Yeah, you guys ready to go viral?
Yeah.
Now your host, ladies and gentlemen, here's Sammy.
Yo, hey, all right. How we feeling?
Good.
Woo. Welcome to school on a Monday night. Night classes are in session, huh? Thank you so much for joining the KO Comedy Podcast. As some of you know, we bring amazing talent in here to share a particular accomplishment that they have done. Today we have Ian Kung. He's going to be talking about his viral success on YouTube. We are recording this for YouTube and for other social media too. So if there's any tech issues, we may have to do retakes. And we're going to do about an hour, then we'll redo it for safety. Just kidding. All right, everybody, without further ado, welcome our guest tonight, the amazing Ian Kung.
Woo!
Hello.
Woo.
Does it sound all right?
You sound great, man.
All right, awesome. Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks so much for doing it, man. How have you been?
I'm great. No, of course. I'm really, I'm honored that you asked. I'm a big fan of yours, actually.
Oh, my pleasure. I think we only met once. Is that correct?
Yeah, we met one time, but I also came up in the Bay Area scene. I'm still coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm still coming up. And when I first started about 3 or 4 years ago, I think you were already in LA at the time.
Yeah.
And people always talked about how, oh, Samuel Bade, he did this 1,000 Days of Comedy. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what I'm going to do then. And then I set off on doing my 1,000 days. I made it to 200 and then I cracked and I couldn't do it anymore. It's so like some nights you're just like, you just have to take off, but I couldn't, I still have no idea how you're able to make it that far, like 5 times what I did.
I didn't make it. I died. I'm a different entity now. That's amazing though. That's so nice to hear that I've inspired you, because you inspired me. You know, you have so much success on YouTube. You have what, 320, 340, 350,000 followers on YouTube, right?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, and just like you said about the 1,000 days, I got to 2,000 followers and I stopped. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Oh no, sorry. They were like, we can't follow you anymore.
Well,
yeah.
So like, is this a new, like KO Comedy is the new YouTube channel that you just started building?
We did just launch the KO Comedy channel. I like this is going to become like a tutorial for how for us to improve our own YouTube.
Sure, I mean whatever you want it to be.
No,
like, I'm
absolutely
always excited to
that's,
talk about that sort of stuff.
No, I love it. We're going to dig into it. Yeah, so we just started the KO Comedy channel. We've been putting stuff on my personal channel, but we just started the KO too. So we're using both.
Okay.
But yeah. But this is the 3rd episode of KO Comedy where we interview people who have some unique thing to present. So thank you again for being here.
Sure.
And you also went to UC Berkeley.
Yeah. For a little while. For a little while until I dropped out. Like I wasn't good at. I was one of those kids where like I was really good at high school, right up, and I got really good grades and all that stuff, high SAT scores, and then I just burned out by the time I got to college. And then I think it was really nice because by the time I dropped out, that was kind of what got me to the point where I thought, okay, well, I know what everybody else wants to do right now is like get into tech, and I did that for a little while too, but like. I don't know. I signed up for an open mic over at Penelope's, and then I said, "All right, fuck it. This is what I want to do now."
So you were at Berkeley. You were like almost done, and then you did that one open mic, and you're like, "No, I got this."
Yeah, I was like, "No, I totally have." No, my first open mic went really badly, and then I think like the next like 15 of them went really poorly too. But I was like, "All right, like I think I can figure this out," because the formula for like making it and I still don't know, right? As I feel like I'm just starting to like figure out a couple of things. I think you really only need a couple of things, and everything else is kind of a waste of time.
So what would you say those things are?
For me, it was only 3 things. It was you just need material that you have to work on. You have to have a number. You have to have a following, right? And then you just work on your relationships. And then if it's like at any given time, I felt like if I wasn't
not personal relationships, right? Like relationships with other comedians.
Yeah, relationships with the comedians or bookers, and just like kind of being like around and making friends and that sort of stuff. But if you have a following and you have material, then you're always going to be able to work. And then everything else outside of that is kind of extracurricular, is what it felt like.
Very interesting. And how many years now have you been at it in comedy?
What's that?
How many years have you been doing comedy now?
I'm in about I think four and a half.
And how long have you been doing YouTube?
YouTube, I started doing YouTube about a year into comedy. So it's about about three and a half maybe.
So, and just, I like to know the thought process here. Was it like you're a year into comedy and you realized that to do well, you need a following and that's why you started to pursue YouTube? Or was it more just like, this is a chance for me to do some creative outlet?
No, yeah, because I knew when I started doing comedy, I'm like, I want to be able to make it doing it, right? And it doesn't really matter if I'm rich and famous or something, because that's kind of up to luck a little bit. But I want to be able to at least pay for my roof and be able to continue doing this for as long as I wanted. So I figured the best way to do that is to just make sure you have a following and then make sure you have material. For me, when I started doing YouTube, it was kind of just it felt like so much of comedy, so much of trying to make it was out of my hands, which kind of sucks. Mm-hmm. It's about making the right impressions with the right people and putting in FaceTime and putting in and hanging out with the right people, which it's that doesn't seem like, that seems like it's taking away from actually making comedy. So I figured if you have your own following, then what else do you really need to do? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does. The numbers speak for themselves. It's not even just you have people to play to, you have a way to monetize, but the industry sees those numbers and then they're like, I want to do something with this person. So nowadays, it's almost like the following can do more for you than the other ones that you said, material or relationships with people.
Well, what I'm noticing is even people just now just sort of dipping into industry, just kind of hanging out more in LA and just working with some of these companies. I've noticed they we say it, I think comics say this a lot, is oh, they need us more than you need them. And I think when you do bring your own crowd and you've just shown that you have people that enjoy your comedy, I think a lot of these bigger companies are looking more to content creators and more to comedians because they need content to push out. They are these big companies are under more pressure to put out content than we are. So they need writers and they need comics real desperately. So if you can demonstrate, if you can demonstrate that you already you pretty when a Comedy Central approaches you or a G4 or a Netflix comes up to you and they go okay, well, can you make us some sketches or write for us or do any of that stuff? If you've shown already that you've essentially already market tested yourself, so they don't have to take a risk on you anymore.
Right. That's interesting. I never thought of it like that too, in the sense that they need, not only do they need content, but they need new content. They have to go to their bosses and be like, look, I got this new thing to add to the roster. Whereas we can literally repeat the same 15, 30, 45 minutes of material all around the country and get paid for a year at least, you know? So I see what you're saying. That is very interesting. So let's paint the picture a little bit. You're a year into comedy, and you've already been out of college at this point, right? You already decided to drop.
I was still kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I was I would take one class a semester or something just to kind of say maybe I'm still crawling forward a little bit. But
what was the last straw that made you drop out? What made you feel like you had secure footing in something else?
I don't remember. I just knew that oh, you know what it was? Because I saw the light at the end of the other rainbow. It was the other one was, if I graduate and barely make it through, then I'm going to end up just working at a tech company and I'll just be coding and then I'll just still be thinking about doing comedy anyway. So I just kind of said, fuck it, let's just go. And I started getting a little bit of traction on YouTube too. So it kind of gave me a little bit of, it kind of showed me that, all right, well, this is possible to do. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to hear. How many views was it that sparked that little bit of fuck yeah, I got this?
Honestly, it wasn't much because I wanted to quit school so badly anyway. So my first video I put out, it got 50,000 views or something. I'm all right, cool. Like, let's go.
That's the number. That's the number, folks. 50,000 views to get you to drop
definitely
out of Berkeley.
not. Like, because then
Berkeley. If you get 40,000, you can drop out of Irvine. 30,000 out of Davis, but 50 for Berkeley. So you got those views, and you're like, right, you saw a light at the end of the tunnel on that side. So you're like, okay, I can do something with this. And you'd been doing YouTube for what you said, like almost a year at that point, or some months.
Yeah, I think I'd been doing YouTube for about like 6 months to a year. And then I thought, okay, I know I can keep growing it. I don't know how to monetize this, but I know I can just keep growing it. And that's kind of, it was more like, let's just do that and ask questions later.
Got you. I'm always interested about the trajectory, like looking at the numbers. So, you said you're 4 years into comedy. You started about a year after of the YouTube. So you're about 3 years into YouTube. You got, 300 something thousand followers. And it was a few months in when you got your first kind of like jackpot, which was like a 50,000 view.
Right. Which looking back, it's like, you're not going to live off
right.
that. And that's a terrible idea. And in the grander scope, like that's really nothing. But like, it felt like, because it's not 50,000 once and then you're going to do it. Like you have to come back and then every week after week, put out another 50, 100, 200,000 to keep.
But there's people out there who would kill to get 50,000 views on YouTube. And I have, but like, how many videos in were you at that point? Like what was the frequency at that point? Were you doing
I had
them every
already
day?
put out like,
week?
I probably already put out like 20, 30 videos but they were all bad because like I don't know. I see a lot of comics do the same thing. And I thought I was really special and interesting when I first started because I thought I'd show. My first like series on YouTube was I'm going to vlog the life of an open mic comedian. And I'm sure you've seen other open micers do the same thing because we're like, oh wow, I'm going to show you the underground. I'm going to show you what Fight Club is like.
Yeah, I actually did that just last year.
But it's like no one cares. It's like that was actually the biggest thing that I could learn for like before when I first started was like, oh yeah, just learn that no one cares about you. No one cares anything about what you have to say or think or feel. Like that was the most important thing that I learned, like first getting into the internet. They just want their laughs and they want to leave real fast.
So you realize that your story didn't mean shit, your narrative didn't mean shit, and you had to get laughs. So that kind of created a slight pivot. What changed in your content at that point?
Then I started just making shorter stuff because I would spend like a week editing like an hour's or 2 hours worth of footage down to like a 10-minute vlog of me going to open mic going like, hey guys, I'm at this mic and I'm trying out this new joke. Oh, I guess that worked. I guess that didn't. That's very exciting. It's not. And then like I was getting like, I don't know, you've seen these, like they get like 16 views if on a good day.
Right.
So then after that I switched over and I just started making things that were like stuff that I cared about or people gave a shit about. Like, because that thumbnail and title is so important. Like, have you ever heard someone start a story on in stand-up where they go like, hey, like I got shot today. And then you're like, okay, hold on. Like, I'll listen to this story, as opposed to if they go like, hey, I was walking down the street and I was talking to my brother and he's a weird guy. And you already checked out. You're not listening to that story. So if your thumbnail title is about, hey, this awesome day I had, no one gives a shit. But if you say something like, hey, like, I don't know, something exploded or something here's a little 30-second sketch about something that I care about that happened in the news because that's relatable to everybody, then you can kind of connect with a bigger audience. So that was like the biggest turning point.
Wow. That's
very like so finding out content that people could actually give a shit about, because it's not I don't know, like people I think people like to act like comedy is like, oh, this is all about my self-expression and this is about me and this stuff. Like, but no one cares. Like, you're providing a service to people. So if they don't, you have to talk about stuff that people give a shit about.
So it's interesting because it's like in the world of comedy, at least, if you look at your video like a bit, that thumbnail is like your opening line. It's like your
100%.
Your segue from nothingness into somethingness, which, as we know in comedy, when you have a funny or very captivating first line, people are listening. So if you do that for your stand-up, why not do it for your videos?
That's 100. Yeah, you know how and not everyone different comics do this to different degrees, but my favorite comics always, when they're on stage, that first line almost like digs a hole, right? And you're like, oh fuck, like how is he gonna like justify what he just said?
Right.
So that your thumbnail title, it's like, oh, it should make it so it grabs them right away.
Right. Like I think we need to kill left-handed people. And you're like, what?
Right. And I'm like, okay, all right, well, I'll click on it. I'll find out what his reasoning is. Oh, is it like a 2-minute video? I have 2 minutes to spare to figure out how he's going to get it. Oh, it has, 50,000 views on it already. All right.
Right. And it is really appealing because we know how YouTubers are pretty cutthroat. Like YouTubers, they like pain. They like grit. You're disagreeing. You're already disagreeing with me. Like
hold on. I want to see what you're talking. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, do you ever read YouTube comments? These are some of the most animal people in the world.
Sure.
Right? I mean, sure, your grandma's on YouTube too, right? Your 10-year-old niece is on YouTube too. But like the people who leave comments, they're usually trolls in a sense. Like,
yeah, someone like I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like it's like I don't know. When I post a video, it's usually like maybe because I already have my own following, right? Maybe in the beginning it's worse, but 99% of the comments that I see are positive, and then like 1% is like shitty. So it's kind of like when you do a regular crowd, it's like 99% of people might be laughing, and that 1% is the one that you remember.
Right. That makes sense. So, when it's your own following that you see consistently. I love perusing YouTube and reading some of the comments that people have. And I guess I always remember the negative ones because they tend to get the most upvotes. Like it doesn't even have to be negative. Like this fucking sucks. It's just more like, this guy looks like a wet rat or something like that. And like, it's like 600 votes. Yeah. Like it's negativity, but it's funny. Man. I mean, all right, he's got to go, guys. Everybody, thanks for coming out tonight. Ian, actually, he just got picked up.
My bad.
By he just got a brand. It was a brand. So yeah, okay. So very interesting. Thumbnail, very important. Your opening line, your opening video. You had that realization. You had that realization early on. Now, this first video that got a decent amount of views, 50K views. What was it about?
It was called How to Start a Protest at UC Berkeley, and it was because I forgot it was 3 or 4 years ago. There was a period where, like every 3 weeks, every couple weeks, I was walking home from the gym, and there's always some march happening down the street. So then I just got like some B-roll footage of me in a protest, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this footage, but maybe I can splice to something. And then I had like this whole sketch planned out, and then what I ended up doing was just cutting it down, just like the punchline, and throwing it out there, and it kind of worked out. But I guess I forgot. I think it was around the time BLM might have even started. So I don't remember what it was, but I just remember there were a lot of protests happening. So it was relevant. It was on people's minds, and it was relevant. So I think that's why it did well.
Okay, so 50,000 views, and you're like, wow, I got this. Is cool. So then you're like, there might be a feature here. So now at this point, how often are you posting?
I was doing it about once a week. That's what I was shooting for. And for the first, and anytime people have asked me, it's like, I tell them like that those first 10 weeks are pretty crucial. Well, okay, let me start like back so it's actually useful to people listening.
Yeah, my first 10 weeks were in 2010. So is it too late?
What I did was like I found like a kind of a community. So I went on I found like a subreddit that I really enjoyed, and then some other and then what I tell other people is go to find like a small niche area where there's 1,000, 10,000 people, and they're regularly talking to each other, and then go make content for that. Oh yeah, sorry, just take that. It's fine. Like, because otherwise I'm gonna. Sorry about that.
So you found a subreddit that fit your bill. Well, what was it?
Yeah, I kind of found like a smaller like community, because if you just try to like dump it into a gigantic community, you're gonna get lost. If in a place with millions of people, no one's gonna see your content. But if you size it down to maybe like, even if it's like a bodybuilding forum, even if it's like an Instagram hashtag that you're popular on, if it's like a TikTok group or whatever, I don't know. Like if you can just find a regular community of people where you can where they can kind of get to know you, that's kind of like the kindling that's going to start your fire.
So you found something that worked for you, and you would regularly share your videos to it.
Yeah, and I would just regularly share there. So that kind of, so those first 10 weeks, I thought in my mind, I can't miss a week. I always have to keep putting videos so they remember, oh, every Monday, Ian's going to pop up with some new thing. And then if that first Monday, a couple people remember, the next Monday, people remember, and just kind of built up from there.
Yeah. And you hear this often. You choose a specific day of the week and do it regularly. And you would swear by that as well.
Yeah, but I would say now, like, it doesn't matter as much now, but like when you are first building your, first audience, it's only going to be like 20 people maybe. And then those 20 people like they feel like they're in, they found some underground thing. They found a promising new creator. So you can't let down your first 20, and then it turns into 30, and then 30 turns into 100.
So now you're a year in. You've hit this 50,000. You're now starting to post every week. And like, how long did it take from you to get from your first success to your second success?
Like my first good video to my second good video?
Yeah. If your first good one was the 50,000, like, what was the next one and when was it?
It was the next week. So what I did was,
look at you.
Yeah, it was the next week, and then I think I was really stressed out because I was like, I know like there's, I have about 50 or 100 people watching me now, and I really want to make sure that I do really well. I hit them again, make sure it wasn't a fluke.
Yeah.
And so the second one did better than the first one. And so the first one did about 50, the second one did about 70. And then the third one I put out, I think I bombed that one. And then people were like, oh, okay, well, he's all out of good ideas, when that was fun for a little while. And then my fourth one, I came back, and then I just kind of, I pulled out all the stops, and that one did better than all the rest of the three combined.
How many?
And then people like, oh no, he still got it. And then the fifth one did well. And then I think that like I did about 8 or 10 that all did progressively better. So for those 2 months, I just did nothing but think about writing and rewriting videos. And then that, because that first little bit, you really can't take your foot off the gas at all.
That's interesting. So we are literally talking about a span of 2 months. You caught the wind, you took the opportunity, you didn't hesitate, and you focused exclusively on that, and you built it within 2 months. And now after 2 months, you said they would get successively better. So now we're in the 100,000s of views, right? You hadn't hit a million at this point,
right? And I still hadn't hit a million.
Your following went from tens to how many at this point?
I mean, I guess each one was like, my first video was something around like, I got 100 subscribers from the first one, and then the next one got to like 500, and the one after that was probably like 1,000, and it kind of, it's like it did kind of follow a little bit of an exponential curve in the beginning.
Sure,
because once you get your first 100 or 200 or 1,000, then people feel like, oh, okay, he's got something going on here. It's not like this abandoned wasteland, because nobody wants to go join an empty club, right?
Of course. My growth curve is logarithmic. It's kind of like leveled out. But
I appreciate the math jokes here.
That's for all the Davis grads out there. So make some noise. So you took that opportunity within a 2 month span, and now how long does it take you to hit your first million?
My first million video.
Yep.
Honestly, like, fuck, dude, it's hard to say, because like I remember the first one was, I think it was the one where I had like a trash can behind me. Oh, the how to do a trick shot video, right? I saw that one. Yeah. And then that hit a million. I don't know how long that was probably my 10th or 15th or 20th video. I'm not really sure, but it's kind of like, you can't like set out to go write a good bit, right? You just keep writing a ton of them, and then you're like, oh, for some reason this one hit really hard, and that's my best bit all of a sudden.
Right.
So it's more like a shotgun approach.
Sure, it's a numbers game. It's a quantity with maintained quality approach.
Right.
And I saw this video. You show like how to fake, or like how to like look good on camera, like to make it look like you get it in on your first shot. And how many shots did it take you to make that behind the hand?
Honestly, like 5 or 6. It wasn't as far away. Yeah, I made it look really.
It took you less than it took to get a million on YouTube.
Yeah. And I remember like a lot of those videos, like I would sit around for the entirety of the week, just like pulling my hair out, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And then that video was one where I said, all right, well, I don't have any ideas, and it's the last day and I have to upload tomorrow. this is just like a dumb joke. It's almost like a shit post, to be honest. And then it just took off. So you really can't pick, and you can't do it on purpose.
And at this point, it seems like you're kind of doing these kind of like how-tos. Like a lot of them were how-tos.
So the reason I did that was because I don't know how to act, like, because a lot of these like YouTubers right now, like a big thing is sketch comedy.
Sure.
And after now, like, I've taken some acting classes, have a little more experience and stuff. But at the time, all I knew how to do was like a little bit of stand-up. And then, in stand-up, like, if you start your bit and it sounds hokey, if you get up and you start doing the, hey, how's everyone doing tonight? Hey, blah, blah, like, people already hate you. And the internet, I think, is even more perceptive to that. Like, they can feel when there's insincerity. So I'm like, all right, I can't like try to put a bit on right now. So if I just start like, hey, I'm Ian. I'm not trying to pull anything, pull the wool over your eyes. My name's Ian, and today I'm going to show you how to do a thing. And then here's my little joke, and have a good day. Like, I think people responded to that sincerity.
Absolutely. That's an amazing lesson to hear, because it's something that we learn in stand-up too. The same thing applies to stand-up. A lot of comics, they start off as someone else. Yeah. And as soon as they become themselves and become sincere and feel comfortable in their own skin, they start to get real, and people will respond to that. Yeah. And apparently what you're saying is the same thing is true in making content.
Yeah, because people will, how many times have you looked at a YouTuber and the immediate thing you think is like, oh, that guy's a fucking douchebag. Like, you are, I don't know why, because you can quietly feel that right away when you're in the safety and comfort of your own room. Like, you already feel it. So when people are looking at you, they immediately are going to think that on YouTube, unless you come at them with like all right, look, I'm not trying to do anything else other than just try to make you laugh maybe. And if you don't like it, hey, it's all good. I'm not trying to be a cool guy or anything. I'm just trying to, share a laugh.
Sure. And one of the most interesting things I found about your videos is that they're short. You don't see, I haven't seen a lot of that on YouTube. Usually they're mid-length, they're like longer form. Like, YouTube is obviously good for longer form stuff, but you stayed consistently with the short video after short video. I mean, we're talking like less than a minute sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you stayed with that. You never did long form. People never like demanded that you start doing long form.
No, and I'll do a long form long form for me is like a minute or like 2 minutes. So I don't know, like, I just kind of have a short attention span with stuff. And then if I think of like a funny joke, I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to overcook the thing. And I'm like, there's the punchline. So let me just go get to that punchline as quickly as possible and cut out all the fat. Oh man, like a ton of like comics like will send me their stuff. And what it is like, and if I could just say like one thing is like, okay, it's just like in stand-up too, right? It's just like they have a punchline, and what'll happen is you'll have like 3 minutes of setup just to get to that one punchline.
Right.
Just like cut out like all of it. Just like put that little thing out, and if people like it, they'll like it.
Wow. So we're 3-4 months in, you already got your first million, and then did it just seem from there to like kind of continue with like you have a popper here, you have some slow ones here, but then it keeps popping, or did it take a while to get to the next million? Really?
It's exactly that. It's the same with joke writing, right? You just you keep going, like every once in a while you have a couple of good ones, and then for a few weeks you're just like, I'm not really coming up with anything good, and then you keep going, and then one night something pops off, you're like, whoa, they really responded to that line, and then you start building a bit around that. So you just kind of keep chucking stuff against the wall, and then you'll have good weeks and bad weeks, or good months and bad months.
Do you know what your highest viewed video is, or like what the views on it is?
Oh my god, yeah, it's it recently changed. It used to be that Dude Perfect video where I did the trick shot, but then recently like people started really responding to this dumb video I made about a cat.
Dude, you can't beat cat videos, man.
Yeah, I guess not. Like, it did really poorly, and then all of a sudden, like, maybe I want to say like 2 months ago, it just got picked up by the algorithm, and people started clicking on it a lot more. And like out of nowhere, I got just like tons of views, and it just got a bunch of notifications for it. So yeah, keep putting lines out in the water, because you never know who's gonna see it or like how a video is gonna do.
Yeah. So since then, you've been consistently posting once a week, more often than once a week?
No, I'm actually notoriously bad now, because like I got my footing, and then I got kind of like, like in my head about a lot of stuff. Because you get your first, like, for me, I got around maybe like 100,000, and I thought, now I got to do like serious, good comedy all the time. People expect a certain caliber of comedy, and it's like, no, people are on YouTube and they're watching independent creators because they want to watch you, like I said, be sincere, and they want to see you fuck around. So just keep doing that, I guess.
So has your, since you've had that kind of, like you said, kind of like falling off in terms of consistency, have you noticed a drop off in your increase in your growth rate?
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I've been kind of really lucky because I think I'm really lucky with the audience that I've cultivated right now, because anytime that I've stopped, I keep thinking they'll go away. Even when I don't upload for like 6 months, I just kind of go away for a while and go work on other stuff.
6 months. You've gone away for 6 months.
Yeah, I've done that. Like I had some health shit happen last year, and I just wasn't like in the mindset to go out and get a camera and go fuck around and make videos.
Sure.
So, and then I thought, oh wow, I've done it. I finally killed my channel. And then when I came back, I uploaded another thing, and it did better than most videos. I think it was like the best video out of the last 10 that I had uploaded. And then it's just like, all right, well, as long as you just like, I don't know.
Once every 6 months is the sweet spot. Yeah.
Yeah. So like a lot of my videos, if you go even look on the channel right now, like some of the top comments are jokes like, oh my God, Ian uploaded twice in the same year. Like, wow, something must be happening.
See, I told you, these trolls, man.
Yeah. Well, okay. And people think I'm annoyed by those, but I'm not, because in a way it's like, dude, people know you so well that they even know your upload schedule.
Sure.
Like that's how closely they're watching you. And like, in a way, awesome. It's very flattering.
Now, at what point did you begin to monetize?
Monetization for me was like later, and I'm actually just like in the process of like doing it more aggressively now. Because like, the pandemic kind of forced everybody to say, all right, well now it's like whatever you've been doing, you better start doing it full time. So before I could just kind of get away with doing like, little jobs and random things here and there to make extra money. But now it's like all YouTube, and Twitch streaming actually.
Amazing. So let's back this up for a second. So you are officially making a living off of YouTube, and you said Twitch streaming as well.
Yeah, 100%.
How are you making money off of Twitch streaming? Just curious. Or is that related to the YouTube, or?
Yeah, because like if it's most of my Twitch followers are just my same audience of YouTube, right? So it's kind of like,
I see.
When I put out a YouTube video, they can see this content here, and then you can link it to your Twitch channel, and then they'll get to hang out with you, play video games, and see whatever you're doing in your free time.
At what point did you jump onto Twitch?
I want to say like 6 months ago, maybe.
Okay. Are you a big gamer?
Not really. I was never like, I grew up in a house like we didn't really like play a lot of video games and stuff. We're pretty strict. So like I just recently kind of started, and even a lot of times I'm not even playing video games on Twitch. I'm just talking to the camera, and I almost treat it like a podcast where I can kind of, like I said, like people enjoy sincerity. They don't like, if I'm just telling them about my day or telling them about like the video that I worked on that I just released and like some issues that I ran into, that's kind of interesting. It's all supplemental. So, okay, I'm trying to tie this back so it's actually like actionable for people listening, but
sure.
I would treat either your YouTube or your Instagram or your Twitter, whatever your main, you're always going to have one main platform that you're the biggest on.
For me, it's TikTok.
That'll be like your tree. And then all like Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, like these will all be the branches that everything like this, your main tree like feeds into. So like just figure out what your main one is going to be. And then like all these other ones will be like supplemental that will like you can feed into.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So do you see yourself continuing the YouTube thing more aggressively now that you're, feeling better this year, obviously, and you're back on posting every now and then, or are you just going to kind of keep it kind of as you?
Yeah. Now we're like back on a more aggressive schedule. So things are, posting.
You said we, like you have a team now?
I mean, I have friends that I talk to and work with, but like, no, it's still me. And I like, and the thing is like, I'm doing more like brand deal stuff. So,
sure.
If videos are due at the end of every month, like you got to like, okay, well, I have to put out a couple of ones that are non-sponsored and they're just my regular sketches. And then I can put out a sponsored one. So people, so people know that, like, you know, you're still making regular content, and you're treating, you know, your audience with respect.
Sure. This is so amazing. I mean, you're 4 years into stand-up comedy and you're making a living, but off of YouTube. So like you now,
and Twitch. So,
and Twitch, YouTube and Twitch, but you can essentially do stand-up as a hobby and not get paid a living wage and be fine. I mean, obviously, you know, one day or whenever you're ready or whenever you want to, you'll be able to have your full-blown stand-up career because you have a following and, you know, you'll be more than 4 years in. But it's, you know, at 4 years in, it's hard to make a living off of stand-up. Like every comic knows
stand-up,
that.
yeah, because stand-up is like inherently, like, it's not, stand-up's not inherently scalable, right? Like YouTube is right away, and then Twitch is. So I didn't want to, like I said, I didn't want to like have my entire career be at the mercy of a bunch of gatekeepers. Yeah. So, you know, if you can do it now, I don't know. Like my goal, like right away from the very, like as soon as I started YouTube, I realized that all I have to do is just make videos and have an audience, right? I can make money, you know, making videos online, and then I can go and meet my audience and do comedy for them. And like, if I just did those two things, like I really didn't need anything else. Now you're making a living doing stand-up. So I think if people have like really specific goals on where they want to end up, like it's much easier to get there.
That's awesome, and that's very inspiring. I just have a few more questions. You know, I've already learned so much. I mean, this has been very interesting to me. You know, in terms of how your trajectory came along, and it just seems so casual. You know, it seemed like you were determined in the beginning, but now it seems like you don't have to work that hard because. I'm sure you do have to work hard. I don't want to take that away from you, but I hear a lot of influencers, people who have a channel where they have millions of followers, like stressing about making the next home run. I'm not feeling that vibe from you just based off of what you said. I know it's a lot of work. I know that you have to make a lot of work to do your videos, but like it is inspiring in the sense that, you know, you are making a living without having to, you know, kill yourself over making the next video.
I try not, because I am a natural neurotic stressor. You know what I mean? So, but I've learned that, like, and of course, like meeting and collabing with other YouTubers and stuff, I've just learned that, you know, it's just like with comedy, it doesn't help at all. It makes it so much worse because all of your stuff becomes very like formulaic and very like stiff. So I'm trying not to think about that as much, but I know that, you know, for me, like I'm trying to get to the next level too. And I know that that's why in this last couple weeks and months, like I've been ramping up and putting out more content because I'm like, you know, for me, I want to get to the 1 million subscriber mark. And then, you know, who knows after that.
And you will, man. You definitely will. So just, I know we kind of already went over this, but like if you could describe like a formula to making a good video or for your own videos in a nutshell. I mean, I know, again, you already kind of went through it, but like just like bullets. Yeah.
I would say it's either like, all right, here we go. It's either relevant or interesting, right? Like it's relevant, relatable, or interesting, right? One of those. So that's like the body. And then at the very end, just have a punchline. And if you have a punchline, that'll beat out 90% of the newer content. Like new content creators have a really hard time wrapping their head around, if I just have a punch, you will see that you will already be ahead of 90% of the competition if you just force yourself to say, point somewhere on that timeline where the punchline is. And if it's there, then you're already ahead of most of the competition. But it's like, it's crazy because, and I mean, you've seen it at open mics too. Like people will just go up and then they won't have a punchline. They're just kind of wandering around and you think, oh, wow, that could have been something. All you needed was like a little twist at the end. And and that had a solid chance of working.
And what a good point, because I mean I see a lot of YouTubers and I always watch the YouTubers and I'm like, how are these getting so many views and I can't even get like 5 views? And I'm like, mine things fill with punchlines, but their presentation's great, their quality's good, they're sincere, they're delivering value to the people, but they're not necessarily funny. So it makes total sense that if you can match them at their quality and delivering goods or relevancy, and you give a punchline, you're that much far ahead. My earbuds are.
Absolutely.
We'll have to fucking do the other ear. So yeah.
Um,
Amazing. Okay, so anything else about that to add to that formula, or is that it?
no, that's it. Like honestly, and that's what I tell everybody, like anyone who's ever like reached out through like stand up or whatever, or any stand ups that I know, like when they reach out, they're like, hey, how do I do this? I always say that. I'm like, just if you have a punchline at the end of it, just keep putting out videos that have a punchline at the end, and
Mm-hmm.
and you will be ahead of so many people.
Amazing.
And it sounds like I don't know, it just sounds like there's more of a secret, but there really isn't. And I don't know. I know, like Ron Vi actually told me something like a lot really early on. You know, the booker over at
Yeah, I
Punchline.
know, Ron. Yeah.
Yeah, he was actually pretty instrumental in actually helping me get my channel started, to be honest.
And he's not even a YouTuber.
Yeah, he's not. But I was people told me like I don't know where I heard this advice when I first started stand up, but like they're like if you want to like be on shows and stuff, like the first thing you do in your first year is just like find a way to be useful. So
Mm-hmm.
what I did was I started like filming a lot of people's sets and a lot of people's
Mm-hmm.
like shows, and I would just say like, hey, if you want your set filmed, like, you know, I'll charge you like $15 or something on a nice camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was talking to Ron in front of Punchline one night after the Sunday showcase, and I was asking him like, hey Ron, like, do you want me to like film your set and blah blah blah? And he was like, yeah, like I guess maybe or something. And then I don't know what prompted this, but he goes like, you know, I've seen you like going around like helping people a lot and all that stuff. But just know like no one's gonna help you. Like no one's gonna
Yeah.
like pay you back for that. You understand that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the time, I'm like, you know, I'm a first year comic, but it was really nice of him to say that because he goes, you got to really start focusing on filming your own stuff. Like you got to start filming your own sets, and you got to start like making sure that stuff is getting better, or filming your own sketches, or filming that sort of stuff. And I don't know like why he decided to
I
tell me
think
all
I think
that.
I think I think three of our interns just quit right now.
Well, I mean, it's good to get experience. I mean, me filming all that stuff, like, definitely learned, but like, he definitely like, it was like really useful to know that. Oh, okay. So then I think it was like a couple weeks later, I started a YouTube channel.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's always interesting how somebody just like one thing somebody says inadvertently can inspire a whole movement. Um, Awesome. So, any advice or words of inspiration you could give to aspiring YouTubers or content creators? Anything? What would you tell them?
Oh, fuck.
This is it. This video right here, this clip is going to get 200 million views.
Okay. I started about 3 or 4 YouTube channels before that channel. So I
Wow.
tried like pumping out content all the time. And
Wow.
eventually one of them hits. And then you start think, okay, I'm gonna keep doing that then. And I've tried so many different series and stuff. So it's kind of like when you guys are writing jokes, it's the same thing. You just keep throwing shit against the wall because you have zero idea what's gonna work. You just kind of have an
Yeah.
inkling of what's gonna be funny, and you just
Yeah.
follow that down. And then you just kind of get lucky. But like I feel like right, like making it like trying to like make a living in comedy is just like stringing together like 100 different lucky breaks in a row. And
Mhm.
if you have tons of lines in the water, you just increase your chance of catching another lucky break. But you need about 100 of them, I think, before it's like viable.
Sure. So, increase your volume, diversify your portfolio, find the thing that sticks, follow it, be your truest self, keep at it, connect with
Yeah.
your fans, and treat your main hub as the trunk of your tree, and then make
Yeah,
your money off
and
of
don't
the.
and this
Yeah.
this is the other big thing. A lot of comics will come up and be like, "Oh, well, you know, what kind of camera do you use?" Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I use my phone for like the first like 100,000 subscribers. Like, I
Sure.
was using like a Chinese knockoff micro. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, people
Yeah.
like a little bit of that. Like, it doesn't have to be like perfectly well produced or anything like that,
Right.
because in fact, it even adds to the sincerity of what you're trying to do. Like, you are the underdog in this case. You are trying to do something that's really hard, and all you have is like a shitty webcam, and you're in your room. People are rooting for you, and if you're funny, they'll respond to it. So like, I would say definitely don't get caught up on the gear. I'm still like, even right now, I'm still using like an 8-year-old camera. So
It's okay to be the underdog. It's okay to be gritty. People.
Yeah. Definitely don't worry about like high production value. That doesn't matter at all in the beginning.
Very interesting. Wonderful, Ian. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. I learned a lot. I've been taking notes the whole time. I know you said you collaborate with other YouTubers. How many subscribers do you have to be a YouTuber?
How many subscribers? I don't know, man. Like
5?
Yeah, like as long as like okay, like how many like when do you get to call yourself a comedian? It's like whenever you're
when you've told
like,
a joke.
I guess so. Yeah. Or I mean, for me, it's like, okay, whenever you're kind of like earning a living from it, I guess. Like then it's like, all right, I guess you're a YouTuber, or I guess you're a comedian, or you're a working comedian. All right, let's qualify it that way. It's like when are you a working YouTuber, or when are you a working comedian? It's like when you're making a living.
When you're making a full living. Amazing. Well, fantastic, Ian. Thank you so much. If you're ever looking for collaborators, HMU.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
We're going to do an open mic right now. We have 5 comedians. They're going to do 2 minutes each. And if you're cool with sticking around and, telling them what you like about it, if you feel comfortable doing that.
A question too?
Yeah, you guys want to do the Q&A first?
Is that cool? Because
okay, Alan's got to go. Alan, this is Alan's show. Q&A first.
All right, sure. Yeah, I mean, I gotta get out of here actually kind of soon too, if that's all right.
Okay,
but
let's do this. Let's do this.
Some Q&A and stuff. So
okay, we'll cut this short. We'll do the Q&A, and then I will announce the 5 comics who got the raffle, and they can do time, and we won't give feedback.
All right.
Cool. All right, Q&A. Let's begin. What do you got, Alan?
All right, I got like 1 or 2 questions that really coincide with one another. The subreddit that you were rocking and rolling with when you were posting those videos, how long were you a part of that community before you started to post videos to them? And what type of community was it? Yeah.
Okay. At the time, like I found a trebuchet joke subreddit. They were all into it was a meme subreddit. Right. The joke was that trebuchets are like way better than catapults. And that's what every single post was about. So then my first video I started making was like, how you can pick up lines using trebuchets, like sexy pickup lines using trebuchets. Okay. And that was a small community. And I thought, I know how to make something that this small group of people where I won't get drowned out in the noise. I know how to make something that these guys are going to like. And so I went out and did that. And that probably got me like my first 50 or 100. And that was like enough to like get your foot in the door and noticed by the algorithm.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Any other questions for Ian?
Oh, I guess I'll do one more then. How much does being tech savvy has helped you with like kind of getting your foot in the door as well with your videos? Like, did it help? Did you do any tactics to get your videos seen more with tags or certain strategies that you used with YouTube?
No, not even a little bit. Yeah. I guess another advice is like, if you're going to start making YouTube videos, don't worry about algorithm stuff. Don't worry about like optimization. None of that stuff. All you do is just worry about like what's on screen, and then your thumbnail and title. Nothing else.
Cool. Thanks, Ian.
Because all that other stuff at the end is just like incremental little bits that'll help you. Like you really want to 80-20 your time.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, brother.
This really did help. I use YouTube a lot. I use it for the dorm space, which is the comedy. They have comedy nights. They have different events going on, and it's been very helpful tonight. So thank you very much.
Cool.
Thank you, Chris.
Welcome.
Yeah. Any other questions for Ian? All right, cool. Well, we are going to roll into the open mic as promised. I'm going to toss it back to Sam. Again, let's give a hand for Ian for coming out and sharing his wisdom with us. Thank you so much, Ian. We really appreciate it, my man.
Thanks, Ian.
We'll post. You can post this on your YouTube channel, right? Just kidding. We'll post it on ours. We'll send you some highlights if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. And yeah, man, once again, I'll see you out there. Let us know if you ever want to do a KO comedy show. We do,
we'll
virtual shows.
do. I mean, I'm excited to like see you out there and stuff once this all this pandemic stuff is over. So I'm
of course. Well, there's shows going on in Oakland, San Francisco. So I'm out there doing them. If
I know, I'm so paranoid and kind of a germ. I'm just waiting for that first shot. At least the first shot, then I'll get out there.
Sure. Well, yeah, you can get it soon. A lot of friends are just getting them right now. But yeah, right on, man. Sure, I'll catch you very soon. So thanks again, my man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out. We're going to keep doing these. Hopefully you can come back. We're going to keep it informative, keep it entertaining. And we'll keep doing these open mic slots. Give it up for Sam Medina for running tech tonight and doing an awesome job. Sam. I'll see you guys all next time.